Boyd and Wynn and Picker, they're all working to get together to meet. And when Miller and Raylan get to the location that they're going to, they're approaching Hot Rod's tow business. And this is where they talk about the towing the cars and the whole thing. They hear a gunshot right as they get there. Good timing. And the guy who was beating up Hot Rod asked for a pencil so he could draw him a map, and he stabbed the guy in the neck. And so the guy's bleeding out, but Hot Rod took a bullet. So that guy dies. Yeah. But Hot Rod took a bullet, and he also dies after talking a little bit with Miller. Miller gives him a couple sips of liquor, and then Hot Rod kicks off because he got shot in the chest.
Not quite John Wick, but
not quite John Wick. Yes, with the pencil, or
yes, with the pencil,
the library books.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for the new and fascinating ways they're going to find to kill people in that movie.
I am too. We might have to do a special, like something like that for that one too.
It certainly looks like there's going to be plenty more horseback combat, which is good because in the last couple they've really relied heavily on the horseback work. So.
Yeah, that's true.
According to Keanu Reeves, this was the most intense sort of training and action scenes he's ever had to do in his career. So,
God, man, he's pushing 50 something, right?
Yeah, he's in his 50s. Yeah.
Well, that's yeah. I'm
have
excited
you seen
for that too.
Have you seen the photos of like celebrities who look like people from like 100 years ago?
No.
Oh yeah. There's photos of people from like 100 years ago, and then celebrities who look exactly like these people in these photos from 100 years ago, and Keanu Reeves is one of them. But it literally looks like he's looked exactly the same for 150 years, and like there's this Old West photo of what looks like Keanu Reeves.
Oh,
and
really?
So there's this whole, I figured you'd appreciate this because there's this whole
cool.
conspiracy about how they're actually not humans, they're immortals, and they've been, like living for this long or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah. You should check that out when you get a chance. You can definitely find it on Keanu Reeves. But yeah, just search Keanu Reeves is immortal.
Okay.
You'll find.
Well,
there's a photo from a painting, I should say, not a photo, from 1530 that looks exactly like him.
Yeah. The only thing that's changed is just the hair. And, I'm looking at it right now.
And the hair, the eyes are exactly the same. The nose is exactly the same.
Wow.
I thought that was funny.
Well, yeah, there's that whole thing with, have you ever heard of that adrenochrome that they use?
I've heard that word, but I have no idea what that is. I don't know anything about it, but I have heard that word before, but I'm sure I've heard it in a derisive context.
Yeah, it's dark, man.
Okay.
Especially if you look into, well, I would just say it's very dark on what it is and how it's acquired.
Okay. Yeah, we won't get into that then.
Yeah. But if you're into the conspiracy of how people are like, that's something you should look at.
Okay. So anyway, so that's the end for Hot Rod. We don't have a tribute to him because he just hasn't been on the show enough. Like, there's just, I like Hot Rod, but he hasn't had enough lines, and he hasn't been on the show enough to really put something good together for a tribute. But the good news is we're not going to run out of people to tribute this season. So we've got several more coming. So let's see what Hot Rod dies from his wound before the ambulance can arrive. Miller and Raylan, they figure out, oh crap, Jay and Roscoe are headed for Harlan. And Carl calls Boyd to let him know that he's almost there, but he lost Dewey and Danny. So Miller and Raylan head from Memphis to Harlan, which I don't think is that far of a drive. It's like probably 6 hours or whatever, but they get there like 14 minutes later. they get to Boyd's bar, or Johnny's bar more specifically, and they find Caleb, the new bartender, tied up behind the bar because Roscoe and Jay showed up earlier and disarmed him and tied him up behind the bar and found out that Boyd was at Audrey's. And Raylan and Miller also find out that Boyd is at Audrey's, and there's quite the meeting happening at Audrey's when Jay and Roscoe show up. And I have a clip of that. And what I have to say about this is I would have taken an entire episode of this. Like, literally, give me an entire episode of this scene, and I would put it directly into my veins. So let me play this clip.
I don't suppose I gotta tell y'all not to reach inside your coats or do anything accordingly stupid.
Can we help you, gentlemen?
I bet you can. Which one of y'all Boyd Crowder?
Who, may I say, is asking?
Who? We are.
Well, whoever you are, taking into consideration everything that's happened in the last 48 hours, I take it you're here for drugs, or money, or maybe revenge?
Man, this dude. Yes, goddamn, I love it. But you can keep the revenge. We'll just take the drugs or the money. In fact, I'll even let you pick which.
Oh, that's mighty considerate.
Boyd Crowder, the man.
Mm-hmm. So how about it, boys? What should we give him, huh? Half a meal? But why stop there? Because y'all probably want the full meal, right? Or better yet, we could just give you all our drugs, let you take that. How would that be for you, boys?
Don't do this, Boyd. I see we was getting along there for a minute, right? But
actually,
don't ruin it.
We might have a job opening. Now, all you got to do is kill this fella right here, agree to 10%, and you can become our new smugglers.
Man, is you out your mind? Ain't nobody doing shit to
Or
me,
better
man.
yet, why don't we all just pull right now? Shoot this shit out, see what's what when the smoke clears, huh?
Oh, cool out, man. I'll take 10%.
Shut up, Daryl. It's already too late for that.
Okay.
Come on, boys. Who's in?
Miller, would you call this a herd, a gaggle, or a flock of assholes?
I would call this the United Nations of assholes.
Well, that's funny, because we were just discussing ratifying some shit.
Boys, we're gonna need you two to put them guns down.
Raylan, can I be excused from the table?
No, you may not.
So I don't have the rest of it, and there's a go ahead.
Go ahead.
There's a great moment from Steve Harris when he quotes King Lear and talks about King Lear, and it's fantastic because I think Steve Harris is like a stage actor, like he's probably done Shakespeare. But
It just in the course of that clip, people's fortunes just changed so dramatically. It's hilarious.
You've got Daryl there thinking that I just offered them 20 and they're fighting about 15 when Roscoe and Jay come in with the guns. Yeah. And then he's like, I'll take 10. And Boyd's like, no, that ship has sailed, pal.
It is probably one of, I think you said it last week. It's probably one of the best scenes of the season.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it so much. And there's another scene that's very, very similar to this one that I think happens next season when Raylan comes in and Boyd's like, damn it, Raylan, your timing sucks. So I do love those moments where serendipity, where everybody just ends up in the same place at the same time. Let's see what happens. So
and then they introduce Boyd's just beside himself. Why don't we just screw this? We're gonna shoot it out.
Yeah, exactly. And then he's like, and because typical Boyd, he doesn't want to be in those situations, right? Boyd is a very, very smart criminal, generally speaking, and he knows that there's no good result that comes out of that situation. So he's like, hey, you don't have any business here with me, Raylan. I'm just going to leave if that's okay with you. And Raylan's like, yeah, no, we're not. We're going to sort this out. So yeah, I enjoy that a lot. And it feels like a very Elmore Leonard scene. It feels incredibly dangerous. You don't know what's going to happen at any moment. I do like, again, they're not, you've got Raylan and you've got Miller. Neither one of those guys are kind of like cops. Like the first thing like cop would have done is come in and disarm that entire room. Well, they knew that they weren't in any position to attempt to do that. So they had to deal with the immediate existential threat in front of them, which was Jay and Roscoe. And that was what they were going to handle for the time being and not worry about everybody else because they had guns drawn already. So, but Miller ends up shooting Roscoe, and Jay drops his gun and allows himself to be taken into custody. Arguably dirty shooting, I think, of Roscoe. I don't know. It's a close call, probably. In the real world.
he didn't hesitate really. I mean, compared to the rookie agent, when they did the Hammer Anvil thing. I don't know. I mean that so he really didn't hesitate at all, as far as like I can tell.
At one point, he said, "I'm going to give you to 3," and then he just shot him. He didn't even give him to 3. Just I guess he raised the gun just far enough. That's let's. ACAB, right? ACAB, but maybe don't wave a firearm around cops if you don't want to get shot. That's not terrible advice.
Yeah.
Until we can dismantle this whole thing and erect something that doesn't represent a militarized Gestapo force. Until we can do that, maybe don't wave guns around at cops.
Or if you're going to do it, maybe be prepared to shoot.
Yeah. If you're prepared to shoot, that's one thing. Right?
Yeah.
If you don't intend to, don't take it out.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyway, so they're pretty much done. There's this little moment between Raylan and Miller at the end where Raylan's like, okay, I've had about enough of Miller's antics for one day, and sends him on his happy way back to Memphis. And Raylan and the locals presumably take Daryl and Wynn and Boyd and Roscoe, or I guess not Roscoe, but Jay, into custody. And eventually Daryl gets out of jail and comes to visit Wendy and Kendall, and is searching through Kendall's drawers when he finds the money that Kendall got from Raylan. And Kendall doesn't account for where he got it. He says he stole it from the Johns. Daryl says, well, that's fine. I'm keeping it then. Wendy mentions that she wants a way out. Daryl is like, no, you've got to stay because I want to take over the whole heroin business in Kentucky, where I've got to kill 3 people and I have the entire heroin business in Kentucky. And presumably he means Wynn, Picker, and Boyd, which, given how successful he's been, I think that feels pretty ambitious for Daryl Crow Jr. to think that he can take out Dixie Mafia and Detroit Mafia and Boyd Crowder. But, more power to him, I guess.
Can we talk about
Wendy's? Let your dreams be memes.
Wendy's parenting skills?
Yes, let's talk about Wendy's parenting.
Because I mean, I guess you really don't start out like with a lie on who your dad is, right? I mean,
yeah. Usually, I mean, that's a good start, right? Maybe don't let him be raised around your miscreant criminal brothers.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be something though, if you had a parent or you had a kid and you found like $2,000, wouldn't the first thing be, okay, where did it come from, right?
Absolutely, of course. You're going to go through a number of kind of equations in your head, right? The first one is he stole it. The second one is he's selling drugs. The third one is he's a sex worker. I mean, those are literally kind of that's the progression that you go through when you're thinking about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's $2,000 is not a small amount of money.
No, especially not for these people in the middle of nowhere in Harlan, right? Like, I mean, I think the sex workers at Audrey's, I think, were charging like $20, right? I mean, we're $2,000. You could be the king of Harlan County.
And isn't that where Kendall was staying? Was that the trailer where all the
that's where Ellen May stayed. Yeah, that was Ellen May's trailer. Yeah.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, there's even still panties like hanging from a lamp.